Lassiter Factor.
What's up, all my movie-loving maniacs? This your boy, Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor, and this is my spoiler review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. I already did a spoiler-free video about this movie. Check it out. But here, I'm going to talk about spoilers and everything. It's going to be a play-by-play of the entire movie. I'm just going to talk about things that stood out to me and elaborate on some things that I couldn't really elaborate on in my original video. So, again, if you have not seen this video, click out, go see it, and then watch this video. You have been warned. Spoiler warning. Now, of course, before we get into the worst kept secret about this movie, I want to talk about some other things, specifically the music, and more specifically, hearing Loser by Tame Impala within this movie, and it came on at just the right moment during the movie, and it just fit perfectly. I love me a good needle drop, and I love Tame Impala. I've discovered them during the pandemic, and since then I've been a huge fan of them. I collected all their albums on vinyl, and just hearing and coincidentally enough, this wasn't actually the first time we heard Tame Impala in a Marvel movie. It was actually in last year in Captain America: Brave New World. They played Elephant by this band within that movie. I was like, pretty cool. They got Tame Impala. But to hear one of their songs again in another Marvel movie, that just touched my spirit. Quick side note, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge that this movie crossed $1 billion in just 5 days. The last movie that did that was Avengers Endgame. That is insane. Is it safe to say that Marvel is back? We shall see. Now, in my spoiler-free video, I believe I said that this movie is in ways like Spider-Man 2, and what I mean by that is it's basically just Peter Parker trying to balance his life between himself and Spider-Man, and it's affecting how he's performing as Spider-Man, right down to him losing his powers. But except in this movie, he's actually gaining more powers in a way. In fact, I remember when I saw the trailer for this movie, I thought we were basically going to get the actual human spider, which is what I thought Peter Parker in this movie was going to mutate into, which turned out to not be the case, but it could still happen in a future movie. But it's how they told a story about Peter Parker first, and then all the Spider-Man stuff came in later, is what did it for me about this movie. And that's what I love about Spider-Man 2, and that's what I love about this movie, is that it was, in a way, a character piece. Granted, to a lesser extent than Spider-Man 2, I do think Spider-Man 2 did it better, but this movie, it came pretty damn close to it, and I thought it was the absolute right call, especially for this phase of the Tom Holland era of Spider-Man movies. The first 3 movies were dealing with him in high school. He was, in a way, he was still a kid, but now here he is an adult dealing with adult things that stresses us out. We all know, we all could relate to this movie, and that's why, to me, Spider-Man, he's my favorite superhero, and a lot of people's favorite superhero. It's just that relatability. Spider-Man, he's the everyman. He could be anybody. And I do like that this movie respected the ending of No Way Home. Everybody forgot who Peter Parker was, and that is carried over into here. His friends, Ned and the love of his life, MJ, they have no idea who Peter Parker is, and we see how Peter Parker struggles with that in this movie. And even if they even if they kind of undo it, they're just undoing it little by little. Like in this movie, honestly, I feel like MJ gave us one of the most heartbreaking but yet real scenes within this movie, because MJ, she does find the letter that Peter Parker was going to give to her. She figures out everything, but it's the conversation that happens afterwards in which, like, yeah, I'm not the same girl I was before I lost my memory. So the girl you fell in love with before, that's not me now. And to me, that is just downright real, because we've all been in that position, even if we're not Spider-Man or half powers or whatever. It's just the fact of, like, mourning that relationship that is just long gone and that you're longing for, but it's just not happening, and that's basically your release to move on with life. But friendships never die, and to me, one of my favorite scenes in this movie was when Ned doesn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man yet, but Spider-Man is just hanging out with Ned, and they're just hanging out, building Legos, playing with Legos, and then MJ, she draws the two of them together. It's like that friendship that never went away, and then at the very end, when they did their handshake, it was like muscle memory. There's a lot of theories going on as to how Ned could possibly get his memory back, but in the case of MJ, I think she low-key got her powers back because, well, we'll get there in a little bit. I did enjoy Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, his inclusion within this movie, because in a way it's kind of juxtaposition to what Peter Parker is going through within this movie. And I thought that the Punisher in the Spider-Man movie would be toned down, but and in truth it kind of is, but at the same time it didn't lose the essence of why the Punisher is so cool and what made him hardcore. Like the Punisher, he's still there as a character, but they're just leaving all his more violent stuff within his own stuff, and I can appreciate that. This is just the Punisher that just happened to be strolling by in a Spider-Man movie. But what I mean by juxtaposition of Peter Parker is specifically the conversation he has with him when he takes MJ to his hideout, in which he tells him, like, look, you think I want to live like this? I'm like this because I'm me, whereas you have a choice. You have the choice to have human connection. I just love that whole conversation between them two, and I'm just like, yep, that's the Punisher right there. And John Berthal and Tom Holland, they have such great chemistry, and I just love the banter. Well, any banter that the Punisher has with any other character within this universe, whether that be with Spider-Man or Daredevil, I just love when he gets into it with another person that is opposed to his methods, because it really is just watching a married couple. I do like how Bruce Banner, he's back in his human form, but he's kind of made peace with himself, with both parts of himself. He's teaching at a college now, and then of course you got students that ask him Avengers and Hulk questions. I don't even like how one of them asked, like, if Thanos wanted to break off half the universe so that everyone would have enough resources, why didn't he just make enough resources? The question the internet has been asking for years, but Marvel and I guess Sony, they just like, yeah, here's your answer, this. Like I said before, I like that we get Savage Hulk again, and for where they left this particular part of the movie off, could have a lot of speculations and repercussions for future movies. I don't know what they're doing with this character going forward, but I'm definitely interested, because you don't just Hulk out without people being like, And watching the fight between the Hulk, Spider-Man, and the Punisher, I swear, when I was sitting there watching that in the theater, I'm like, what planet am I on? Because I did not think I would ever see this, let alone on the big screen. In my original review, I said that I'm kind of wishy-washy on some of the villains in this movie, not the main ones like Jean Grey in The Hand, but more specifically the red shirts like Scorpio and Tombstone and whoever these two are. I'm blanking on the yard. I only know the classic Spider-Man villains, but I don't know who these two are. But the point is, look, Spider-Man, to me, he's like Batman. He has the best rogues gallery. Both him and Batman have the best rogues galleries, and I just feel like these villains deserve a lot better than a 10-second cameo. But regardless, I am happy that they finally addressed Scorpio, who was introduced in Spider-Man Homecoming. Now for the worst kept secret about this movie, and that is Sadie Sink, who plays Jean Grey. And I said in my original review, as an X-Men fan, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about how she was utilized in this movie, but in context of this movie, I thought it was effective. It's just, and look, I ain't gonna sit here and act like I'm an X-Men aficionado. My love for the X-Men mainly stems from the 90s cartoon and the movies, and I more than understand that there have been different iterations of this character, but how she started out in this movie and her origin, I guess that's what we're calling it in this movie, it just kind of threw me through a loop, because one, I didn't even know she had a sister named Sarah, and then also she kind of made a heel turn, which we all know Jean Grey from the Phoenix saga that she's going to make a heel turn at some point. I just didn't think it would be this early, and she's not even Phoenix yet. It just kind of left a taste in my mouth that I'm not sure how to sit with, that's all. But regardless, I am happy that Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. I can't wait to see how Marvel's going to utilize this version of this character in the future. I do like how Aunt May came back via a memory, and that was the thing that pretty much brought Jean Grey back to the light side. In the post-credit scene, I honestly don't know. This post-credit scene could mean a lot of things. Is it one of the more disappointing ones? Yes, I think so. Before I wrap this up, I do want to say that the only other real issue I have with this movie is the issue I had with Captain America Brave New World, is the fact that they basically use that movie to be a low-key sequel to The Incredible Hulk so that they can wrap up things. And that's the thing I feel with this movie. They just use this movie so that they can introduce more X-Men or set up the X-Men. But regardless, I still really enjoyed this movie. I think this is Probably the best Spider-Man centered story we've had in a movie in a long time. I'm standing by this review, which is a high hard eyes emoji. But those are my spoiler thoughts on this movie. Have you seen this movie, or what are your thoughts on everything I talked about in this video? Let me know in the comment section below. This your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.